Hey, this is Clay Nelson Life Balance Hour. You're listening to Healthy Living Part 2, the power of mental calisthenics.
Part 2.
Part 2. And it's it's kind of like a Part 2 that's come out of an overwhelming request from Part 1. And last week's Part 1 was how about, the value of taking care of yourself and what you got to do and how you got to put a team together to hold you accountable for, when you eat, what you eat, and quite frankly, what you want, and how you got to give up being depressed about how your life is so you can pull out of it, get some exercise, and how the old bending the elbow syndrome won't kill you early as long as there's no food in the hand that goes to the mouth. You know what I mean? So it's all about getting straight about yourself and get your sense of humor back. So, Susan, you got an email over there?
Yes, we do, and it pertains to what you just spoke about before we went on the break. And it says, my story is a lot like yours.
How do you stay so fit? How do you do it? I mean, I've known you for 30 years, and you've had 2 babies, and you look exactly the same. Pardon me. You look exactly the same as you did when I married you. Whoa, well, good thing to say, huh? Anyway, seriously, how do you do it?
I had a lot of genetics to help me along.
Yeah.
The environment, and just when I was about 19, just decided to eat the kinds of foods that worked for my body.
Yeah.
I mean, I've gone off the deep end a few times, but, generally speaking, I don't overeat.
Yeah. See,
except when I was pregnant, I ate a lot.
Susan's going off the deep end is eating an entire handful of popcorn. I mean, isn't that wild? That's Susan. Whoa.
Oh, my goodness.
Anyway, okay, email. What you got?
So anyway,
Thanks,
this one's from Mike. It says, my story is a lot like yours, and I admire your stepping out and talking about it. For those of us who don't have a radio show, how can we, as you say, teach what we've learned without sounding like a critical know-it-all?
Yeah, that's really good. A lot of people have some really good ideas about healthy living, but they don't want to say anything because they think it's going to be received like the person they're talking to isn't living healthy, like critical. And the best way to do that is to ask permission to just share what you've learned about how you live your life and about how your life has changed, or about how your life has gotten better and better and better the more you've done what you're doing. And it's a sharing, it's not a telling. And that's the difference. I mean, it's really cool. You got that? We got that out in Radio Land? It's all about being able to share your experience in a way that it makes a difference for another. It doesn't shut another down. That's the key. Okay?
I'm sure that'll help Mike a lot.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
All right. And by the way, Mike, if you're out there sharing and somebody says you show off, and what you do is you do 100 more sit-ups right in front of them. What do you think? Good idea?
Kind of reinforces the point.
Believe me, I did get some feedback on last week's show about why. Who cares? I mean, people calling in, gee, what a waste of time to talk about health. And I'm just going, okay, well, that's your opinion. I got it. I appreciate that, and you have the right to speak that if you choose to. It's just not where I am. So, Mike, I want you to understand something. No matter what you do, when you step out there, somebody, somewhere, will have an opinion that doesn't approve of either what you said, how you said it, or when you said it. Don't let that stop you, okay? And by the way, Mike, the best example of good, healthy living is to be a good, healthy living person. So you just keep being it. All right, now, what else we got? Anything else we need to talk about right quick?
Well, we have a whole bunch of emails if you want to do another email. Of course.
Wow, let's do it.
Yeah. It says, Clay, you mentioned clearing as a mental calisthenic, and I find that my daily 4-mile brisk walk is as much of a mental calisthenic as it is a physical calisthenic. So I guess this is not really a question, just more of a statement that...
Well, when you're stressed out, and I'm going to talk about stress today. When you're stressed out and you're having a hard time, it really attacks your body and how it operates, how it digests, how much stomach acid it produces, all kinds of things. And one of the best ways in my early years, one of the ways I got rid of hostility and anger and just general mad on and everything else is I'd go down in the gym and I'd pump iron. And every single time I came out of the gym after pumping iron, I felt better. So I thought, wow, what is this? What is it about exercise that gets rid of stress? And I'm not a physiologist. I don't claim to know all the answers, the metabolic answers of how the body works. All I know is is when I go exercise every single time without fail. You know what? Like I always say at the track, I always say, are we on the third lap yet? Because at the track, by the time I go around the track, the third time, I start feeling better. The fourth time better. The fifth time better. My head clears up. My body feels better. I've got blood where it wasn't. I've got lactic acid moving out of where it is. I'm not cramping anymore. I've got a sense of humor. I'm laughing. I can turn the music up louder on my iPod. I mean, just things are better. I don't know why. I don't care why. I don't even want to investigate why. All I know is it works. So there's the answer to that one.
All right.
So now, let's talk about today's show. Today's show is all about getting straight. That we think about healthy living is mostly exercise, eating fruits and vegetables, getting enough rest, and staying away from sugar. But rarely do we really think about, the balance between your mental well-being and your physical well-being. So the reason we tend to think about mental well-being separate from physical well-being is because we've been trained to think that way in two distinct classes. I mean, think about it. Most insurance policies provide, now listen to this one, most health insurance policies provide two coverages, one for physical disorders and one for mental disorders. And the coverage for a physical disorder is much better than the coverage for a mental disorder. Now, why is that? Because most people don't think about the power of the mind. Most people don't think about mental disorders. Most people just think, oh boy, I'm going to feel better as long as I just walk an extra mile. Okay? Now, some of that is true. Okay, but what gets you out of your house, out of the chair, out of the car to actually take the first steps? My most difficult exercise period, all right, is the start of it. That's why I always go, Susan, are we on the third lap yet? You know what I mean?
Clay, this is a pretty good quote here from Johann von Goethe, the author.
Yeah.
It says, knowing is not enough, we must apply. Willing is not enough, we must do. Yeah. And it just sort of seems it's a real good quote kind of to embody the fact that you have to know, you have to be mentally prepared and mentally with it to be able to get physically in shape. So, good quote.
Yeah, I mean, it's like if you're going to go take a test, you got to study for it, right? If you're going to go ask somebody like your wife in the early stages of dating, you want to ask her to get married, you have to plan it. You can't just flap it right out there and go, hey, you want to be mine forever? It doesn't work. She'll look at you like, what? Do I have to cook and everything? What? All right? Now remember, if you're the only person that has a say in how your life turns out, how do you want your life to turn out? And by when do you want to have it be the way you think it should be? Now think about this. All right? If you could say to yourself, I'm no longer a victim, I do have a say in how my life turns out, what would you want to say? And it's all about what your mind makes up, what you're going to speak to yourself, and by when you're going to take action on it. So mental well-being, mental calisthenics, I think, is more important than the actual physical exercise you do. Because if you can't get past your mind stopping you, you're not going to go out and do the walk. You're not going to take care of yourself. It'll move the action over into the land of I'll get to it. Okay? Now, how many of you know about the land of I'll get to it? Is anybody in here? Anybody in the studio?
It's lovely. I vacation there.
Yeah. I mean, I've been there many times.
Most every day.
That one. Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
I learned how to drink Long Island iced teas there. It's really great. You can just sit there and just down those babies and just look at everybody exercising. Okay, I've got to take another break. I'm having way too much mental fun here today. And when we get back, we're going to talk about gossip. We're going to talk about mindset. We're going to talk about clearing. We're going to talk about anxiety. We're going to talk about stomach upsets. We're going to talk about mental calisthenics and have some fun with it, okay? This is Clay Nelson Life Balance Hour, KZSB AM 1290. Come on back and get ready to get mental.